Oh, hi. You just caught me finishing my... Welcome back. How you doing? How was your weekend? How is everything? We have a lot to cover today, but it's going to be really super fun, and I'm super excited to talk to you about it. Where we left off in the last video was we'd cut out a bunch of these. I'd cut out 36 or so. Let's talk about the overall scope of what today is and what we're going to do. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crease these, how to fold these, and how to glue them. That'll be pretty quick and easy. I'll show you what I think are best practices for folding and gluing. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. This is what has worked for me so far. And then the fun part is getting to lay out all our pieces into a thing, or to play until we find a thing that we're proud of. Yeah, I'm really excited to get to that. So let's start with the folding and creasing part right off the bat. Let's get that done. I made these out of cardstock. I printed these from the printer, but you could also do that from a copy machine. It just makes them a little thicker, more rigid, and easier to work with. I would encourage you to do that if you can. There is cardstock over at school that you're welcome to go to the front office and get, or you can buy it online or get it at Staples. The challenge now becomes, this is a flat piece of paper, there's no creases in it. Folding it really carefully is a challenge. You know, ideally you want to fold it so the black lines are on the inside, so that the outside is beautifully white. And I found that to be difficult. So when I was talking to Matchline about trying to do work that was in the style of his, one of the great tips he gave me was to score the lines before you fold it. He said to use an engraver, which looks like this. I got 6 of them from Amazon for, I think it was like $6. They're super cheap. Basically, it's just a sharp point. So you could do the same thing with a nail or a pin, or you could even use your knife if you just lightly cut. Here's what you would be doing. So what I'm doing is laying the ruler down next to the line, much like we did with our line work before. And then with the point on this, I'm just drawing down, which if you were to feel it with your fingers, it just makes a little ridge. And I'm going to do that on all the lines really quickly. And what that does, it scores the paper. It doesn't cut through. You can see it's clean on the back, but it creates a little ridge that we can then really easily go and just fold it along, because there's a defined line already in the paper that you can bend the paper over. So I've done like an initial creasing, but very quickly, you know, we can get a very beautiful angled pyramid. I'm going to do one triangle piece too. What I want to show you though is if you don't have an engraving tool, I've had some success with a razor blade. I just don't put much pressure down. So let me show you that here. I'm looking to make a mark more than cut all the way through the paper. That's easier done with cardstock than with printer paper, because printer paper wants to cut through really easily. Like, I can feel that it's cutting the paper a little bit. And now hopefully it'll do the same thing. Good. So without too much work, we've got one of these forms too. That's it for the scoring part. That's what it is. You're basically telling the paper, hey, fold here. So that's scoring. Gluing is interesting. I've been experimenting with a bunch of different kinds of glue, and I'll show you what I found works best. So I went to the hardware store and I bought a bunch of different kinds of glue just so I could advise you all. For my money, Crazy Glue works the best. It works the best just because it dries fast. So if you're making a lot of parts, you want it to dry quickly so you can move on and do more. This works pretty good. It dries pretty quickly. It has kind of a sharp tip on it, but it's a little hard to be precise. My favorite thing I found so far is this. Loctite makes it. It's called the Precision Pen. It has a really sharp point on it, and you can squeeze out very little glue. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind here is you don't need tons of glue to hold this together. It's only paper. Let me show you how to glue stuff. My thinking is basically, I do it in stages. I don't try and do everything at once. Initially, I was gluing the tabs to the outside like this. I would put glue under here, and then I would glue it down like that. And that looks okay. And then I tried experimenting with, I've been putting glue, I know this is confusing, and I'm sorry, putting glue here and gluing that to here. So it would look like that. And I like that because it creates a really clean seam here. I've actually been gluing the tabs on the inside. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put glue on this side and glue that here, and I'm gonna put glue on this side and glue that here, and then I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute. Can you see how little glue that is? Good. I've glued the tab on the inside, and I've made sure to keep the edge of the square flush with the edge of the outside. See how nice and clean that is? Keep in mind, your fingers may get gluey. So the move again is, I put glue down this outside edge here, then I tuck that inside, and I press it down, making sure to keep this and this even with each other. And then that tab will get glued inside. So that'll look like this. Very light little bit of glue. Can you see how little that? Yeah, you can see how little that is. Okay. And then I tuck it, line everything up nicely. And that's it. And then I'm holding with my finger from the front, and with my thumbnail I'm kind of pushing in from the back. And that should be good. So we have a nice square bottom, we have clean sides already, and it looks like that. And when making a bunch of these, I would get it this far, and then I would pick up the next one, because I like to do things in series that make sense. So now, same thing here. This is the main triangle. I'm just gonna glue this one to here, because I figured out a way to do this better. So just this glued to there. And that'll look like this. Again, very little glue. This will glue your fingers together, so maybe have some nail polish remover on hand to clean up, but if you use very, very little, it's not a problem. So now I just come around and glue it down like that. And I'm making sure to keep this edge nicely in line, and that's pressed down inside, and usually 5-10 seconds of pressure is enough. Good. Let's just finish the triangle since we're here. So we have one side glued down. That looks very nice. And now the rest is really pretty easy. We put that side in, put the tab in, and put the side in. That doesn't need to get glued. And then this one, the tab will go in the little opening down there. So I practice putting it together first, so I know how to glue it. So I know that when I glue it, this will look really good. I open this up a little. I'm gonna put glue down this edge here a little bit, just a little inside from the edge, and that'll look like this. A super light amount, and then I press it down. And if you don't want to use your fingers, you can press it down to the table edge. Be careful not to dent the paper, but we're just trying to make sure it goes together nicely. You see the tip is a little open there. I don't like that, so that's typically why I hold it with my fingers. The rest of the edge is pretty nice. I'm not super happy with the point there, but it's dry, it's good. And now we just have this little flappy gap right here. If we take a little glue, put just a little inside, and hold it down with your fingers. That's good. Or you could press it down to the table to keep it flat that way. And that would be how I'd make a triangular pyramid. Let's finish the square one real quick. The square one actually finishes out pretty much the same way. So we have two sides down. We're gonna tuck one side in, and I usually make sure the fold is clean all the way up to the tip like that. I'm gonna fold one side in, then this other one comes around and tucks in. We're gonna run a bead of glue up here and hold that in place, and then we'll do the same thing, put a little bit of glue in there, smoosh it down, and that's how the glue forms together really pretty efficiently. If you're getting a shape you don't like, just go back and revise your folds a little bit. That's looking good. Okay, so let's glue it. I'm gonna open it back up just a little bit. Thin, light bead of glue all the way down the edge, all the way up to the tip. Wrap it in and press down carefully with your fingers. That looks nice. That looks really nice. Look at that clean edge, clean, clean, clean. And then we put a little bit of glue in there. I put a little bit in from the edge. And then here's a little move that I do. Like if you smush it down to the table, drag it back a little. You see the glue? Oh, you can't really see. Just, it keeps it from getting stuck to the table. So I drag it back a little, make sure it's nice and smooth. Yeah, work on cardboard, of course. Don't glue anything to your dining room table. And we're gonna call that pretty darn good for beginner work. Okay, you guys, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the exciting part. This is the good stuff. It all leads up to here. All the the careful drawing, the careful cutting, the careful folding, all the care, all the thought that we put into making shapes that are beautiful adds up to now. Now we get to make the thing that we're trying to make. What are we making? I don't know. Where we go from here has yet to be determined, and that's, I think, really fun and really exciting. Let me show you what I've been working on. I spent some time making parts. Yes, it's a baking dish. I've been working on this weekend. Full disclosure, I also made all these parts, which are cool, but I'm not as excited about. I'm gonna put that work aside. Where I think we should begin is with our plan. That's what I drew in the last video. And now that we have parts, let's put the parts on the plan. And this is just yet to be determined. I have no idea what this is gonna look like. So let's just begin. Put a square in the middle. If you did it right, your lines and your parts should line up beautifully. Then I've got my triangular parts. And I'm not gluing anything down right now because we're just playing. We're just trying to find what it is we like, or more specifically, I'm trying to find what it is that I like. And since I'm as new to this as you are, well, that's interesting. Do you like it? Here's what I didn't anticipate. I think the parts are really high. The view you get from here is decidedly different than the view you get from here. This looks like almost like a forest. Like you don't really get the shape of it all in this view. So you only get it from here. But like if it was hung on the wall and this was the view you had looking at the wall, that's kind of cool. What I'm noticing is, since I also made hexagons, I think they would key in. Yep, they do. They key in over here. Does that make it more interesting? They kind of just stick out. Well, I don't know. Looking at the one on the white, that line there that travels out and around is kind of pretty. And we get more space in here, which is interesting. That's why we play. I'm not crazy in love with this, so let's try one of the other things we did. Let's start a little bit more basic. I don't think I made enough square bases. I do like some of the stuff that's going on. I love like the sharp diagonal lines that we're getting. If I change the lighting a little bit more, that's pretty cool. You know, and that's what we should consider here. Like, how does light play off these objects? All these faces are light. All these faces are dark. If you made this and put it in a room with windows and the light moved over the course of the day, is that something you're into? That's interesting. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I want to try this one just because it was an experiment. Make as many parts as you can because it gives you more possibilities. Is that interesting? I think the problem I'm having is these look like eyes. Maybe it's the height, but to me it looks like just a bunch of shapes on a piece of paper. Okay. I like this one because we're gonna use square shapes and triangle shapes to make a circular shape. Since I'm most into this one, I'm gonna put a tiny little bit of hot glue on the bottom just to hold it in place. Look at how light and shadow play into this. You know, now it becomes about form, it becomes about positive space, and that really interesting negative space in there. And put that in. Look at the way the facets light up as it turns. Let's try filling these spaces with the triangles. Do you like that better? If we look at it from here, that's kind of cool. If we pop the hexagon in, does that make it more interesting? Why didn't you tell me we forgot one? I think, for me, and this is me, this isn't telling you what to do, I think it's pretty. I like the circular form. It kind of feels like a crown. But I want to try something else. I made these angle pieces, and you can make all kinds of angle pieces if you want. Since these have the same square base as these do, I'm gonna pop one of these out. What do you think of that? I like that. I like that a lot. That's really cool. That's interesting. There's no right answer here. This is just the ability to play. There's nothing to say it has to be symmetrical. How do you like that? I kind of love this. That is, all right. That's awesome. Here's why I like this. I like that we built off a plan that we designed before and we've done something totally different. I like that the artwork goes off the edge of the paper. Remember when we were talking about Matchline's work and some of the pieces had a lot of negative space and then he had pointy pieces pointing there which activated the space? Look at what this does. Your eye goes to the center because that's what your eye does. When you have something like this that has concentric circles, it basically has a bullseye in the middle, your eye goes here and then travels out wherever the lines point. and that's what's happening. So this is a very active, wait, this could be a clock. Oh my goodness. Imagine if you had a little clock in there. Oh man. Oh, that's cool. Okay, it could be a clock. I like this because it activates the space, because it goes beyond the boundaries, because it's something definitely I didn't expect. From the side, there's a lot going on. Is that better? Do you like that better? If you like that better, that's fine. If you don't like it better, that's, ooh, okay, that's cool. I like the way like this facet travels down and then kind of comes up this facet here. So what if we had these shapes, 3 go out and 3 go in and almost touch but don't touch? That would be visual tension. It's like they're so close but they're not touching. And from the side, look at that. That starts to become a much more active sculptural piece. So if you're into that, like if you're into that moment, a moment like this where things are almost touching but not, that becomes a new focal point. You have these lines here leading up to a moment, a thing, and it's like you want it to touch but they don't. The energy there just kind of like sizzles. That's super exciting. The takeaway from this is I want you to play, I want you to try things, I want you to see what you like. It's hard to plan and execute something like this without building and taking apart and building and taking apart and not treating anything as too precious, because you can always make another one of these, you know? You can always reprint it or redraw it or whatever. But now you have the knowledge of like, oh, I know what shapes on here look like, and that's big, you know? That's awesome. Maybe the things you've drawn aren't working for you. It's okay to just play. It's okay to just stand pieces up and try and experiment and see what they can do and what it feels like. And like I have discovered, these are good. These are way more exciting to me. So is there a way to use them together? Like if you have one down and, oh. Or you can have them placed like we were talking about before. There's a couple ways we could use this thing. This could be about principles of art and technically what's right and technically what's not right. And I could teach you that. Or this could become about you and what you like and what you don't like. And by and large, what you like and don't like has been influenced by the principles of art being shown to you in other ways, shapes, and forms. You having the chance to figure out what you like and make a thing that you like and then figure out why you like it later, that's big. That's exciting. I think I'm going to leave you here. Yeah, I'm not going to show you what I like. I'm not going to show you my finished piece. I'm not going to show you what I've done because I want you to do something of your own. I've shown you things I like, but show me things you like. And on that note, I want you to bombard us with images. I want you to take, like any setup you make, anytime you try something, take a picture of it. That's it. Okay, what was I saying before? Take lots of pictures. Anytime you have a setup that looks like this, take a picture. Include it in whatever you turn in to Miss Hill, Miss Telebrico, or me. I want to see your ideas, what you thought about, what you came up with, because just sitting here playing over the course of this video, there's more things I want to do and more things I want to try, and I wish I had more parts to play with. I'll be back in one more video. I'll see you in next class with whatever I decided I want it to be done. And when it's done, put glue on the bottom. You can use crazy glue. I guess you could use hot glue too, you know, and put it down and situate it and commit to it. Glue it in place. Your final piece should be on a nice clean sheet of paper or cardstock, or you can glue them to something else. I don't know. If there's some other way you think to present these, I'm all for it. Let me know. Show us. Cool. I'm so excited to see what you've done. I'm so excited to see what your take on it is. If you need help with this, if you need an opinion, if you need thoughts, ask your friends or ask one of us what we think of what you're doing. Make lots of parts and just play until something pops out at you and you're like, oh, that's cool. There it is. And I think you'll know. I think you'll have a moment where you're like, that's cool. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for just playing. And I cannot wait to see your work. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.